It's not meant for that. The extra chair. Huh? What? No, I was answering you. Yo, yo. All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you guys for coming today. The food is rolling in right now, so everything should be in here shortly. Once the food is completely laid out, then I'll start getting everything rolling. So get your plates, get comfortable, get a drink, and then you guys are free to get food throughout the duration of the show. Oh, wait. I have my own. Stay inside for the beginning. Right now. Give me like 5 minutes, 4 minutes. Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. Mike's not here. Mike's not here. What we checking for? Uh, TikTok right now and Facebook. Yeah, TikTok and Facebook. I couldn't get the Twitch up. All yours. I'll talk to you about it. We're live right now. I after. But you meant. Introduce yourself. No, everyone's cold. They're all old. I'm all good. Appreciate you. Eat after. Whatever's more comfortable for you. But I do have to.
Try the pizza before you came in.
Yeah, it's good. It ain't a Little Caesars. We made it out the block. The next workout and we got the hookup. I said the next workout and we got the hookup. Good. All right, everybody. I would like to thank you all for coming here tonight. Thank you guys for taking time out of your busy schedules and lives to be here. I would first like to start off by thanking our sponsor, Georgio's Pizzeria and Pub, for hosting this very special event and for allowing me to have a platform to share my message on. So I would like you guys to all give a hand for Danny here, who made this all happen tonight. Danny is a very important person to me. We've had very many great memories on the football field and together. So I truly appreciate you for helping me make this happen tonight. Thank you. I know you're busy and got to get back to it. So thank you very much. All right. Most importantly, though, I'd like to thank you all for taking time out of your lives to be here. I understand how busy things can be. I understand how life could get in the way of these kind of things. So thank you guys all for coming here tonight. I hope you guys enjoy your food. I hope you guys enjoy the message I have to share with you tonight. And if at any time you guys feel like you have a message or you feel like you want to speak, that's what this extra seat is for. It's not a requirement. No one's required to speak here today. So if you feel like you have the courage to speak or you feel like you have the motivation to speak, that's what this is for. So you are more than welcome to come up here and share this moment with me. And I truly appreciate it. All right. So I wanted to stress that tonight is about creating a safe space. Tonight is about making a space that a man can be vulnerable and a man can be supported by their fellow brothers. So in this space, I would like to be as vulnerable as possible. I'd like to share as in depth as possible. And if anyone has any questions about my personal experiences, my life, my upbringing, I am more than happy to share. I'm more than happy to be the most vulnerable person in the room, just so I can set the standard and make sure. Sorry about that. Just so I can set the standard and make sure that everyone feels as comfortable as I do. And as you guys do notice, there are women in the crowd. Now that is on purpose as well. So the difference between my platform and other platforms is I do not promote women hate. I was blessed to have very powerful women in my life, and I still have very powerful women in my life. So I would not promote women's hate. I would not promote the hate of a woman. Every circumstance that we find ourselves in, we find ourselves in for a reason. I was blessed to have a beautiful mother who raised 6 kids on her own practically, and every single one of us is thriving. I've watched my stepmother work countless hours, 2 jobs to make it happen. And I watched my mother-in-law, who's been my rock for as long as I can remember. No matter what, she's always been there for me. It matters what, all the women in my life has been there for me. So that's why it's important that I stress that this is a safe place. This is a safe platform for women to share. It's a safe platform for men to share as well. So, but women's opinions in our mental health is very valid because they get to see it from a different perspective. They know us more in depthly than we can possibly imagine. So when I do share and I do say things, sometimes even my own wife catches me off guard, like, hey, you're leaving some things off, or you could have added some things, because there is no sentiment, right? There is no limits to your vulnerability. As much as you want to share is what you do share. So when it does happen and you do share, you become, you kind of get in the moment a bit. You kind of put yourself in a place where what's oversharing, what's not oversharing, and there's also the stigmas behind this all. You don't want to find yourself in a position where you feel like you're being judged. You feel like people are talking down on you. And I get that, but that's what tonight is about. Tonight's about breaking those stigmas, breaking these things that are holding men back culturally, you know? And man, with that, I really want to get rolling into tonight's topic, right? So the most important question on this journey that I have gotten so far is the why. The why I do this, the why did I get it starting, the why I keep going with this, and it's a question that truthfully I pondered a lot, and I put a lot of thought into it. I try to think as in depthly as possible with it. But in our reality, the answer was very simple. I'm doing this for me. This is something that I have to do for myself, because in turn, it's something I can do for men just like me, and as much as I wanted to act educated and bullshitted, it's just not me. I'm not that person. I'm a very blunt person. I've always been a very blunt person. So that's what makes me me. That's what makes me special. So if I can find a way to help myself, I can find a way to help my son. I can find a way to help the youth, a way to help other men, a way to help other fathers, so that we can finally make a dent in this generational epidemic. Now, the term I use right there, epidemic, is going to be key tonight, because that's exactly what this is, and it's a word that we've seen quite frequently the last 5 or so years. So, epidemic is a term that we usually hear medically. People reference it medically. So let's review the definition. The definition of an epidemic is a widespread occurrence of an infectious disease in the community at a particular time. In my eyes, is mental health not infectious? Are patterns, behaviors, habits not infectious to your children, your brothers, your spouse, your families? When we go through those spouts and we go through those moments, we tend to put those things on to the people around us. We tend to target our anger at the people who don't deserve it. We tend to put ourselves out and make ourselves mad at the wrong people, when in all reality, those are just people who are trying to help us in the moment. Those are people who are trying to make our lives easier, as well as be our biggest advocates, in not only in public but in private. So when you find yourself down and you find yourself returning to habits that you feel safe in, drinking, smoking, being distant, you find yourself in those habits, that's the perfect time to break out. That's the perfect time to realize, like, hey, in this moment, I've returned back to something I don't want to be. In this moment, I became something I did not want to be. And that's what this is about, is bringing yourself up to the point where you're able to recognize these things and you're able to correct them in real time. Because when we take our health so lightly and we don't pay attention to some of the things we do, some of the habits, then our children, our spouses, our family, the people around us tend to pick up on it. And it creates a resentment, it creates a hate, it creates something that we don't want. We don't ever want to feel like we're separated. We don't ever want to feel like we're individuals away from our family, because at the end of the day, our family, our friends, the people we keep around us regularly are our biggest advocates, and they are our biggest supporters. So when we find ourselves down, we find ourselves out, instead of pushing away, we have to start embracing those people who are wanting to give us those help. They're wanting to give us an ear. They're wanting to give us a safe place. They're wanting to give us someone just to listen. And now something that goes directly hand in hand with that is we come across people daily who are going through things, who are fighting personal battles. They're fighting these battles that just seem impossible to them. You know, they're fighting battles that they feel like they're secluded on an island and there's no one truthfully around to help them out. You know, there's truthfully no one around to advocate for them. There's truthfully no one around to do those things for them. But we don't realize that the help and the advocation that we needed was right in our face. The people that we needed are there to help us. So when I use the word epidemic, I used it in a term, you know, metaphorically, because if we begin to treat mental health with the little bit of urgency that we began to treat COVID, sicknesses, things of that nature, we'd be able to make a small impact, a small dent. Now, I'm going to read some figures off to you guys that may seem like very insignificant figures. And they're a little bit predated because the government doesn't do a good job of keeping up with the statistics and stats currently. So there's no data for 2023, there's no data for 2024, and there's no data for 2025, which is frankly scary. Because if you look up any other disease, you look up any other fact, any other thing, there's data. You know, if they need a new budget, if they need a new, you know, approval for something, those things are made almost immediately. But when it comes down to mental health, not only for men and women, those resources are held off. So in 2020, 36,000 males committed suicide. That accounted for 79% of all suicides in the United States. In 2021, a rise. We had 38,000 males commit suicide. In 2022, we had a slight decline at 29,000. Now, if we look at it on a global scale, in 2021, globally, 700,027 men killed themselves. An estimated 519,000 were men. That's on a global scale. So you realize that those numbers that seem insignificant in the US, on a broader scale, what they touch, you're into the hundreds of thousands. You're making a significant dent. And when you look at the fact that those numbers are just men, you realize how enclosed we actually are as a culture, as a society, where these men felt that they had to go to the extreme measure of ending their life. Now, when you think about it, it wasn't until June of 2022 that the mental health line even was created. So we had a mental health line, a hotline previous to that wasn't federally funded. Now in 2022, when we saw an incline in male suicides, which was almost a 10,000 drop, it's significant. So something as small as federal funding into a hotline, just for somebody to feel that they're heard, just to talk someone off the ledge, you know, just to create a space for them to speak, made such a drastic impact. Now imagine if this hotline is available globally. Imagine if this hotline had real money poured into it. Imagine if the funding wasn't held so tightly. Imagine if the government actually took the time to look at these things from a broader scale and realize how many males are actually impacted, how many people are actually hurt, and how many people are actually hurting. Now, when you compare these numbers to the previous epidemic, which was COVID, is the last epidemic that we've all been able to see. In 2020, 350,000 cases of COVID-19 deaths came from COVID-19, excuse me. In 2021, 416,000 deaths came from COVID-19. When you compare that number to the suicides that occurred in 2021, it surpassed it. Yet, globally, there was no change. There was no significant change in men's mental health or in mental health in general. There was still no resources poured into this. which should be scary, which should scare you because everyone in this room, well, majority of the people in this room have children. Majority of these people have aspirations for children. And this is the things that our children are going to be upbringed into. Again, a society that just keeps on repeating the same habits and keeps on having the same occurrences repeat. And it's frankly scary because I'm a father and I fear that the environment that my kids are growing up in is not a safe place. It's not a place where children can speak freely. So the other day, just out of the blue, the podcast was on my mind, and I was kind of thinking about everything. And I had the chance to see a high school ID. So the high school is a local high school in Illinois. Doesn't matter which one. But on the back of the ID was the suicide prevention line that the school created for those children. That should tell you enough that if that school had to go as drastic as creating a suicide helpline for the kids internally, it's a problem that needs to be recognized globally. It's a problem that needs to be recognized in the United States as a whole. Because at the end of the day, who's going to advocate for our children if we don't? Who's going to be there for our children if we don't speak up? If we don't say that our children need these resources? It'll continue to be a neglected topic. It'll continue to be a neglected subject. And now one of the biggest things that I've heard is I've had the chance to speak to a lot of people, and a lot of people have reached out to me with their journeys, and they've reached out to me with some things that they're going through. And I always stress, I'm far from a professional. I'm no professional. This is something I started out of basically impulse. And fact of the matter is, there's so many other men out there who are hurting. Someone needs to start speaking up for them. And even if it's me speaking up on this platform, it's enough to make an impact. It's enough to feel that I've made an impact. It's enough to feel that I've advocated for all the men in my life. Okay. So if you guys gather anything from tonight, is that I want you guys to gather that people care about you. There's people in this room, there's people in the area, there's people who are involved in your everyday life, there's people who are involved in things that you do that you may not realize are there for you. There's people that you realize that may do a lot more for you, that may lend you the ear that you may need, that may lend you the heart that you may need in that time of your hurt. So if you can find time out of your lives to help one person who's struggling, then you've made an impact. Because in turn, that person may make an impact. And that person that he helped may make an impact. And it's just a cycle that we want to keep going. Because the path that we're on right now is not a good cycle. The path that we're on right now, there's still millions of men hurting. There's still hundreds of people hurting. I'm sure that there's people in this room who are hurting because I'm hurting. So I know that there's people in this room who are hurting. And I know that there's people who just need an ear. There's people that just need to feel like they're heard. There's people who need to feel like they have someone to go to when everything else seems so dark. So if you guys leave today, I want you to make it a goal this week to go out and help somebody. I want you guys to make it a goal this week to go out and be generous, be kind, be the soul that people don't ask for, but the soul that people want you to be. Because those people who are out there, they're silent. They're nervous. They're scared. They don't know how to ask. They don't want to be a bother. They don't want to pester. They don't want to be an inconvenience into everyone's life. Allow yourself to embrace them. Allow yourself to go out and find someone. Because that person may not want to speak. That person may not want to be involved in a conversation. But all it takes is a little push. If you can push somebody in the right direction, if you can push somebody in a direction that they feel like they're helped, that may be one less number we add to next year's suicide total based off a simple conversation. And there's so many people, and again, this is targeted at men individually. I'm not a woman, so I can't speak for women, obviously, but as a man, I feel sheltered. I feel like I can't speak because I become an inconvenience when you're supposed to be the strongest person, when you're raised to be the strongest person. when you're raised to show no fear, when you're raised to show that in a time of need, you'll step up for your family. So at that time, when you're scared and you're nervous, think about yourself. Think about your child. Think about your family. Think about those around you who will be truly impacted if you were gone, if you were not here today, if you were not here tomorrow. Take the time out to think because it'll hurt more people than you realize. You may have made an impact in someone's life that you may not even have realized you've impacted. Your presence alone may be enough to talk somebody down. Your presence enough may be enough to keep someone off the edge. So if you could find the time this week to reach out to somebody, a friend, a colleague, a brother, and just make sure that they know somebody loves and someone cares about them, then you take that time because it's something as simple as a text message. It's something as simple as a call. It's something as simple as a FaceTime. On average, a TikTok is 7 to 15 seconds. That's how long it takes to send a text message. You can even talk the shit now. You don't even got to say it. You don't got to speak it no more. You can just talk it. You can, hey Siri, the fuck out of a message. And the fact is that that may be simple enough, to take somebody off the edge that day, to make their day just as good as you want your day to be every day. So if you find time this week, it's something that I would like you all to do. Reach out to a brother, reach out to a family, your sister, your cousins, your aunt, someone you haven't spoken to in a long time. Someone that you miss, that you may have argued with, you may have had a falling out with, because you're probably the person that they need most. And it's something petty that you don't even remember, frankly, because I can't even remember half the grievances I've had with people. And those are the people that sometimes meant the most to me. So reach out to those people, make it a point to make yourself vulnerable for them, and just lend an ear. Because at the end of the day, an ear is all someone needs. Sometimes they don't even need you to talk back. Sometimes they need you just to listen. Sometimes they need you just to hear. And sometimes they need to just be embraced. So if you guys find that time this week, that's just something I would like all you guys to do. Appreciate you. If I'll offer the podium at this time, if anyone would like to share something, if anybody would like to speak, if anybody has something that they would like to share, a journey, something that you feel would help the men in this room, please step up. The seat is yours. And if no one feels comfortable, you'll continue just hearing me for the next 30 minutes. We did. So no problem. So we did grow up in the same area. So I was raised in Humboldt Park. A lot of you guys know that because a lot of people in this room were raised there as well. Do I regret being raised in Humboldt Park? Not one bit. It showed me things that I didn't realize that I would need in my life, and the smallest thing down to just making the next dollar. Staying strong, staying level-headed, understanding what to be involved in, what not to be involved in. So I would never take that back. It was a journey that I definitely embraced, and I definitely had a ball doing, because obviously I met some very good people along the way as well. So for that, I'm forever grateful for what that did for me. Anybody else? All good? Or you could. You could tell them.
That's why I turned the head around. We're neutral tonight.
All right, for everybody new, this is my father-in-law, Jim Strong. The floor is his to share whatever he may like to share, and we'll just base the conversation off of that.
Well, thank you for the introduction.
No problem.
You might have to shut me up sometimes, because sometimes I don't have an off switch. But
More than welcome.
I'm just going to share from life, right, experiences. And I'm 53 years old, married for 33 years, 4 children. Pretty much been through it all. Grew up on the streets as well, in the city. And might not have had as bad as others, but I'm not no rookie either. So I'm a Christian, go to church. I don't want to make it a church thing, but I will throw some things in here throughout the night or throughout my time up here. But the biggest thing about men is we're macho, right? So I think that's our biggest weakness because we put everything on their shoulders, our family, our children. We want to be successful. We want to make money. We want to have the biggest house. We want to have the best cars for our children, our wives, our spouses. And when we fail, we feel like failures, right? So with that being said, to touch base on suicide as well, because I think that's an important topic. I just worked an event this weekend, and it was a 5K walk for suicide. And seeing the young people that are killing themselves is tough. And it's all about shame. It's about not being, people are afraid to talk. When a loved one commits suicide, they're afraid to tell others why there's whatever it is, why they killed themselves. They don't even want to say it, right? It's like a big taboo. So the more the word gets out there, that it's not a shameful thing to be weak. Whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, whether you're a mother raising children, there's a lot of single moms out there. So I don't want to take that like the dads are the only ones because hats off to the single moms because they're being the dad, the father, the mom, the breadwinner. So that's a lot of stress. And one of the things I seen at this event was the children that were there, and they were probably like in their 20s, 30s, and their mom came up and screamed. And everybody stopped. Take a picture, right? So it's something that needs to be spoken about. And if you know someone that committed suicide, don't be ashamed to tell people that you lost a loved one to suicide because people have to know. From a man's perspective, again, we all make mistakes. There's not a man in here that probably hasn't done the same thing that they regret. The same sin, the same mistakes, for the most part, at least, like 95%, right? We've all been there. We've all regretted things for sure. And this is where I'll talk about the Bible. Some of the strongest men and the most powerful men in the Bible all made mistakes. They committed murder. They committed adultery. They were vindictive. They were vengeful, right? But at the end of the day, God still used them because deep down, God knew their hearts. They were good men. So good men make mistakes. I made mine. There's moments where I felt like a failure. Sometimes I still feel like a failure to this day. I could have been a better father. I could have been a better husband. And, there are second chances. So reach out to another man. Reach out to a therapist. Find a church. Whatever it is that works for you, just find somebody, right? Don't be ashamed because whoever you reach out to has done the same thing, if not worse, right? That's why we have to share. That's why we have to share. And that's why I think it's important what Mark's doing is getting out there because mental health is a sickness. It definitely is. God didn't design us to be like that. Be, fearful or down on ourselves. We're supposed to get up every morning, put our boots on, get to work, and give him all the credit, good and bad, right? Because he put those things in our lives, whatever obstacles they are, makes us a better man. All the things, like Mark said, I don't regret anything that I've done in my life for the most part. I mean, it made me the man that I am today, right? Standing up here, sharing with you guys. I'm trying to be a good role model. Some days are better than others. I still stumble and fall, and you guys will too tomorrow, the next day, or the next day. And when you do, just know there's someone out there you can reach out to. There's hotlines. There's your friends, your brothers, family, there's your church. At the end of the day, the most important person you probably reach out to is God. He's the easiest one. You drop to your knees and start praying, right? And that's it. Get yourself a Bible. And there's not a man in the Bible that didn't do the same thing that we're talking about here today, too. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for.
Now it's kind of hard to follow that up, and it's amazing when another man can come up here and speak, real feelings, and get down deep, because it's hard to share in a room full of, which some people to him are strangers, some people in this room he's never met, some people in this room he's never had the grace to meet, Luckily I have, and all of you guys have played a pivotal role in my life. Every single person in this room has impacted me in some which way. So for that, I'm forever grateful for every single one of you guys, So cheers to all you guys, and thank you guys tonight, Now, one thing I'll say, right? Something that a lot of young kids, a lot of stuff that a lot of young kids kind of go through is inconsistent father figures. Inconsistent male figures in their lives. And that's something that I've been plagued with, down to my biological father. We're the most inconsistent person in my entire life. A person who's only seen my kids 4 to 5 times since they've been born. The 2 most consistent father figures I have are in this room tonight. And I'm forever, and I say this, forever grateful that I've been blessed to have those 2 men in my life. Because Jim and Rocky, they have showed me so much love over the years. Jim took me in when I had no place to go. Jim took me in when I was at my lowest. And Rocky picked me up. He showed me what it was like to be a man, what it was like to be a father. So for him, I am forever grateful. For Jim, I am forever grateful. And I'm more grateful that my son will grow up and have role models like those 2. And my son will grow up to have people to look up to. Because it's so hard to be a man when the most consistent person that's supposed to be in your life isn't there. And it's so hard for a mother to try to step up and teach a man how to be a man. And it's not impossible because my mom did a damn good job. And she told me everything that I needed to survive in this world. And for her, I'm grateful. For Vicky, I am grateful that you guys came in and showed me what it was like to have strong women, what it was like to have strong men in my life. Now, consistency. I will never be inconsistent with my children because I know how much it hurts. I will never have an inconsistent figure in my children's life because I know how much it hurts to have to go out and look for somebody, to wait on the steps for somebody that never comes. So my children will never have to go through that a day in their fucking lives. And I can guarantee you that no matter what the circumstance is, my children will never have to look for me. None of you in this room will ever have to look for me because when you need me, I promise you I'll be there no matter what. So when you think about the consistency and the roles you play in people's lives, this is a prime example. Me, I'm the example of someone who did not have consistency, of someone who craved for a father figure, for someone who could have fell in the wrong direction looking for a father figure, for someone who just wanted someone to be there. So for anyone in this room who has young children, for anyone in this room who has children that they are bringing up, whether they are biological, whether they are someone, a step kid, whether it's somebody on your block, somebody who just needs someone to be there, please step up and keep being you, because you may not realize how much of an impact you are truly making in that individual's life. You may not realize how much you have worked to grow that person without putting in any effort, by just being you, by just being the person that everyone expects you to be. and that's hard. It's hard when we're supposed to be the tough guy. It's hard when we're supposed to be bravado. It's hard when we're supposed to be what everyone else wants us to be. But those are things that we have to work through. Those are things that we have to identify and realize that we are doing and that we are wrong sometimes. Because sometimes we just need to cry. Sometimes you need to let out your emotions. Sometimes you need to find an outlet. Church is his outlet. My outlet is every Sunday morning for 1 hour. For 1 hour on Sundays, I can tune out my whole life. Nothing else matters besides that field on Sunday. And before that, it was high school football. Before that, I wasn't able to play youth football, but I'm sure that would have been an outlet for me. So now when I'm able to play flag on Sundays and I'm able to be around people who uplift you, people who you don't realize will be along for certain parts of your journey, I'm grateful for it, because there's people from the flag community in this room right now. There's people in the flag community who made this event possible, people who I met along the way. So for those people, I'm grateful for. I'm grateful that I've met every single one of you. And again, you guys have all impacted me in one way or another. So I appreciate you. Just to give you guys a little bit of backstory about this podcast, though, Zach and JD here, they also helped me plan this. So JD and Zach, I truly appreciate both of you guys too, man. Thank you guys for coming tonight. And they were a motivation to truthfully get this going. JD was on me daily to get this going and get this moving. So if you guys want to share something, you guys want to speak today, the floor is yours as well. So whenever you guys feel comfortable. If you don't, by all means, you don't. But if anybody else would like to share, the floor is open. Oh, there we go. Appreciate you, Des. And this time I allow you to introduce yourself. I learned my lesson.
Hello, everybody. I'm Des. First of all, I want to thank Mark, Danny, staff, everybody here at Georgio Pizza for the opportunity and just kind of this platform to what you just did, give that sigh of relief and just kind of get stuff off our chest here. I try not to go into my whole life story. I try to make it quick. I don't know how good that'll go.
You share whatever you're
For
comfortable.
for sure. For those of you who know me or who don't know me, I grew up in the Elgin community not too long from here, and just a melting pot of people that I met along the way, and different ethnicities, different backgrounds, different cultures, and just my whole journey and everyone that I've met is played a big part of my life and who I am and where I'm at today. The along the way though, you kind of lose some people. We all kind of go our different paths. We all kind of go our different ways. As kids, it sounds good. They're like, we'll be friends forever. And you know what I mean? We'll be, one of the people in here, JD, I've known him all my life. So I'm blessed to have him all my life. But I ain't had everybody, that long. Or some people I lost along the way. Like, they grow up. And a lot of the paths that they talk about growing up, like, hey, don't fall to this, or don't fall to the streets, don't fall to drugs, don't fall to alcohol. I've lost a lot of people like that. And I grew up in environments like that. And I was always, they would, kind of at my back, you play ball, keep playing ball, you don't want to get in stuff like this. So I always had good people in my life to guide me. But the most important thing that I've learned is you can always control what you can control. And what I mean by that is I can control being a good person. I can control checking on people. I can control sending my, the phone works both ways, but I can control my phone. I can give people a call, or I could shoot them a text, whatever the case may be. And I think we need to do a better job of controlling what we control, and that's our emotions. That's the outlets we reach out to, and just even stuff like this, just showing up today and supporting Mark and supporting everyone that's here. One story that I did want to share that I don't know what made me even think about it, but I played sports all my life. Basketball, I was always, that was my better sport. I like football more, but I ain't want to hit the weight room. So basketball was for me. And humbly, I was probably one of the best, if not the best player in the area, Fox Valley area, Upstate 8 Conference, all of that. But every day, it was this kid, random kid, just a little freshman. He kind of had a disability, whatever the case was. He would come to the games and stuff, check in. Just, what's up, Dez? Good game, good game, good game. And I didn't even think about it at the time, but just everything now made me think. Me even saying what's up to that kid or showing him some love, like it probably made his day. Like he you know, he don't know I'm on the front of the newspaper. He don't know I'm this. He don't know I'm that. At the end of the day, I'm dead. It's like, you know what I mean? Like just little stuff like that, and it kind of humbles me that no matter what we go through, no matter what I'm going through, like it's always somebody who wish they had what you had, or it's always somebody who wish they could be in your shoes or something like that. You might wake up one day, you mad at the world or whatever the case may be, but you got a roof over your head. You got a car you could drive. You got people in your life. I got people who call me every day. It's like sometimes we lose sight of that because we woke up on the wrong side of the bed, or oh, work ain't go that good today. And I think that's going back to what I said, control what we can control. We control our emotions, we control our reactions, and we control all of that. And piggybacking what Mark said, just stay busy and finding something that you enjoy doing. Like Flag has brought a lot of us in this room together. Like I'm happy that a lot of y'all here. You know, I met y'all through Flag, or you know, I play with y'all in Flag. But like he said, that's our time just to be free. That's our time to step away from whatever we got going on, whatever we going through. But we got to understand it's got to be more than just that hour. You know, we got to come together. We got to do things together, little events. You know, just stuff together. So I I appreciate you having me. And anything you ever need, reach out. It works both ways. You know, you're a platform for us, but we want to be a platform for you too. So
I appreciate you.
appreciate everybody.
And that's what I do this for. I do it for moments like this where a man can come up who had no plan or no expectation to come up today and share, share a story that he thought could be impactful. And again, it hits the exact message that I kind of wanted to end this on. Um, one of my more recent journeys is for the last about 3.5 months. I've been going to therapy weekly. So therapy for me is another hour where I can speak freely. I cannot be judged. My responses aren't judged, and she just listens. You know, um, I'm not sure if it was on purpose or whatever the case was, but when you go on those therapist websites and you look at the sites, you can read like a biography of that person. You can read kind of what they went through, what their professionalism is, what they key in on, what they can do to help you. And I had some goals going into therapy. As many of you guys know, I did have a health scare this year, and my anxiety was really, really high. Um, and since I've been going to therapy, it's been a lot better because I've been able to voice some of the things that kept me so stressed, some of those things that kept me anxious, some of those things that kept me inside my heart, kept me inside my mind all day. So one of the hardest things I did was return back to everyday life after the hospital. So therapy for me was a must. It was something that I needed because for those months, I mean, my wife will tell you, she's the one that told me I wasn't myself. I was distant, I was shallow, I was mean, and they were just there to help me. Those nights where I didn't even sleep. There was nights where I was up coughing up blood for hours, just into my sink with no control over my life or what was going to happen to me. So when I see my therapist, I don't know why. I spoke about the stronger women in my life. I picked a bit of an older woman. I picked I definitely picked a mom figure for as my therapist. And that's kind of the best thing. And my mother-in-law always gets on me because I always reference older women. She's obviously young in my eyes, but she's a little bit older than me. So I picked a little bit older woman, I should say. I rephrase. I take it back. And she's kind of another woman I would pinpoint as a mother figure because for that hour she listens. She doesn't respond very much because she knows that for that hour it's just I need a vent. I need to get all of it out because I'm so used to keeping all of it in. And she's given me another platform aside from this. Because when I for the first week I started this, I talked to her about it. And she told me, and I always reference this in this when I go live is not everybody has the same intentions that you do in your journey. There'll be some people along the way whose message may not be what you want to share. It may not be positive. It may be negative in a sense, or it may not be the message that's just meant for you to deliver. So for that, I am truly picky who I do share this platform with. And it gets hard at times, because it's like a lot of people have a story to share and it's hard to distinguish the negative from the positive. So for me, therapy was something that I needed because she talked to me about this podcast. When she told me that, it was because she was trying to figure out what message I wanted to send, what message I wanted to get out there, what message I wanted to spread. So I didn't know personally, but she actually watched every single one of the lives I went live on. All the first ones, all the test runs. She watched everything. And she didn't say anything for weeks. It wasn't until like maybe the fourth one where she's finally like, I've been enjoying your series. She's like, I wanted to make sure that you spread a positive message because I've been in positions where the messages that were kind of spread weren't positive, and I reference therapy because it may be an outlet that you didn't know that you need. And people don't realize how readily available it actually is, and I did an episode, my first episode of the podcast was actually a resource episode. So I have a few copies of that here tonight of free resources located in or around Chicago that are targeted at different groups, different ethnicities, and all of them are free. And it's the same thing. You can go there, you can find a therapist, and if a therapist isn't something that you want, and you want something that's a little bit more like this, in a setting where you can just speak to other men or you can speak to other people, they have those settings as well. So if you'd like, I printed out a few copies of them and I have them here today. If you want to just snap a picture of it, if you want to take it with you. I know I don't like to have loose paper with me, so you guys are more than welcome to take a picture with you, and take a picture of this form. But there's different areas listed on here. There's different events. Like one of them is a hip hop and sip at a local coffee shop where it's just a bunch of black men that get together. There's some that are in Humboldt Park. There's some that are in Grant Park. There's some that are downtown, and there's some that are in Inglewood. These resources are for everybody, and they're targeted at different people who may need something in their life. They may need something that's convenient for them, because the biggest is if it's inconvenient, you're just not going to go. If it's inconvenient for you. So my last little tidbit why I encourage you guys all to seek a therapist, to seek somebody to speak to, is it is convenient now. You don't have to go in person. You don't have to sit on the couch. You don't have to lean back or go to sleep. It's not like the bullshit movies where you're sitting on a couch and someone's preaching to you for an hour. It's on your phone now. It's super convenient. It's a Zoom call. They have Google calls. They have phone calls. You don't even have to see the person if you don't want to. And again, you can pick the person that is tailored for you. And there is no attachment to that person. So they're interchangeable. If that person does not fit your needs or does not fit the things that you're looking for, then you can always go out and seek somebody differently. You can always seek somebody new. Before I end this tonight, does anybody have anything else they'd like to share? You can say it from your seats. You can say it up here, whatever you feel comfortable with. My 7-foot tall friend.
What's going on, Mark? How you feeling? What's going on, guys? I'm EJ. I've known Mark. How long have we known each other for the last like 4 or 5 years now?
Some damn time.
I've been fortunate enough to gotten to a point where I can call him my brother. We've gone through quite a bit in the little time we've known each other, in the space that we've known each other. It's like, but in the time that we've done this, like I've seen the good in him. I've seen the good man in him. And for anybody that knows me in this space knows how much I talk about being a good guy, how much I talk about being a good man. To give you guys a little bit of background for myself, I grew up in a space with in an environment that people were envious of. Like my parents are retired CPD. Like, and so on the surface it looked great. It was like my father was the type of guy, or he presented as the type of guy that other guys wanted. The other guys, like, they wanted him to be their dad. And he had no problem, presenting that. But as we know now, like a lot of police officers aren't the best people at home, because they got to take all that stuff they deal with outside and they bring it home. And a lot of things, and a lot of things came from that. Like, I wasn't a sports kid growing up. Like, you see me as, like, yes, I'm a large person. I was not a sports person. Like, my parents were school parents. Like, my parents were like they didn't care about football, they didn't care about basketball, they didn't care about baseball. Like coaches wanted me to do it, and they were like, no, you want to go to school? Like, you're going to be better than that. And it got me to adulthood to realize, like, um how intrusive it was, because realizing that being a good guy, being a good man, you can be an athlete and be a good dude, be a good man. Like, and that was something that I struggled with. I struggled with the concepts of it, because my father was like, no, it's like, you didn't get paid, like, like athletes didn't get paid like they get paid now. When he was growing up, it was like, it wasn't worth the cost, it wasn't worth the sacrifice, it wasn't worth the lifestyle. um but you grow up and you realize, like, I grew up and I realized, like, this was an outlet for me. This was the opportunity to come and get out a lot of the hostility that I felt about growing up and being in an environment where, I didn't get the opportunity to do that. So we get to this point, and we talk about therapy. I've been in therapy in some way, shape, or form for the last 20 years. I'm 41. And I advocate for it heavily, because it kept me from a lot of dark spaces. It kept me from being a much worse human being to a lot of people that I know. Like, and you guys see me, like, and you guys see me, like, I'm this super chill ass dude. Like, it took a long time to get to this point. A long time to say, like, no, like, there are better ways to handle the harder points in life. There are better ways to interact with people. It's like, I don't care how upset you get about these things. Like, it doesn't mean don't get upset, but how do you handle those things? How do you address the way you're feeling? Because you have to be you have to be able to accept the way that you react to those things. You can be upset, and you can we've been out in the fields, like, we've had just in the last couple months. There's been like 3 fights out on the football field. You can fight, you can feel how you feel about it, but you have to be able to accept what comes from it, and able to accept the fact that, no, that is the way you reacted to how you were feeling. And sometimes it's okay, and sometimes you be like, no, I'm good with it. But sometimes it's like, is it worth it in the end? Is it worth it to have that reaction to those things, to be hostile towards someone that you share a space with, someone that you share a sideline with, someone that you consider to be your brothers? Like, are you going to be so upset with them that you sacrifice that space, you sacrifice the positive energy that you built in that space, because you're upset in that moment? Like, you're upset for a couple seconds, like, you hot for a couple seconds, and it's like, it's never really worth it. It's easier to take it, like, now. Like, we started this season with our team. We play on Sundays. We get through Sunday. Whatever we got to talk about, we talk about it today. We talk about it on Tuesday. You give yourself that time to process what you felt that entire day, because It's an hour of adrenaline. It's an hour of energy. It's an hour of feeling what you're feeling. And for somebody who isn't in a space like Mark and myself was like, who isn't like, who doesn't have any other outlets to express the way that they're feeling, it's like it's all hostility. It's all hostility. Like we'll be in the group chats, like, and it'll start a little bit, and then it'll just blow up, and we're just like, nope, we're Tuesday. Like take a breath, like go to your corner and take a breath. And it's it's effective. Like, and you start to see like guys like we're starting to see, guys like coming back and saying like, hey, look, I was a little upset. It was like I was in the heat of the moments, like, but I had time to think about it and I had time to consider what was going through my mind. It's like, and we approach those spaces respectfully. And being in the football space that we've been in, I've been in this space since 2008, so 17 years. And I went from being the young man, being the high energy guy on a team, to being, the person that's supposed to be the common sense guy, supposed to be the guy that's experienced enough to say like, hey, I know what you're feeling. I know what you've been through. I know what you were going to go through. It is okay. Think about it. We can talk about it and bring it back down. It's like, and we'll work through it together. Like, because at the end of the day, we are all we got. It's like we share a space that we only get to share for a little while, but we have the opportunity to connect for a lifetime. And I'm fortunate enough to have made those connections with you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. It's like I'm glad to see you guys out on the field when we come out there. I'm glad to see Mark out here when I come out here. I'm glad to be able to connect with him. Glad to be able to connect with all you guys, like, because we lose those opportunities, and we lose those opportunities sooner than we think. Whether it be on the field or off the field, it's like you start to realize like not everyone is here forever. We only get one go at it, and it is important to make the absolute most of it. Be able to do the things that you want to do, without giving up yourself, without sacrificing yourself, without putting each other down. It's like there is enough space for every man, every woman, everyone to do what they want, do what they love, and live well. And I appreciate Mark for creating another space for us as men to come and sit and say that without being judged, without being like, this is this is bullshit. Like we're supposed to be, we can be big, strong, fast, tough, hard, but human. And that's what it is in the end. It's like, and hopefully whoever's listening to this up here, hopefully we can appreciate that. It's like, and take that to heart and take it home with us. But that's what I got. Thank you,
And he spoke about that briefly, but one of the rules that we do have in football is we never discuss it the day after it happens. We always give ourselves 24 hours to react to anything. And that's something that I take with me in my everyday life now. If there's something big, if there's something impactful, if there's something that made me upset, it made me angry, I no longer make rash decisions. I no longer go off and make a decision that can impact my whole life. I now take 24 hours to do it, because something as simple as an extra thought or adding in an extra detail that you could have missed initially could change the complete outcome of it. But with that, I would like to thank you guys tonight. I'd like to thank everyone in this room who came. I would like to thank everyone who took time out of your lives, everyone who spoke, most importantly, because you guys don't realize that you may have in turn motivated someone to make that next step in their journey, someone to take that next step you know, and motivate and continue to motivate, you know, get people to continue to buy into the message. And you may not have realized the impact that your story that you shared tonight has on somebody else's, you know, everyday life. So thank you all, you know. Yes, it is. Exact says it's free to be a good person. And it's free to know good people like you all. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for all coming tonight. With that, we're gonna wrap it up. So thank you guys very much.